as one, walk with thousands.
Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Dad Bods Beards. We've got a very special one for you guys today. We've got one of our newest friends in studio and a group that we are going to be very heavily involved with. But before we introduce Joe and what he is doing with the I Love You Bro project, we wanted to highlight our primary sponsor, as always, Mountain Ops. You guys know Mountain Ops. We've been talking about them for almost a year now, and we utilize Mountain Ops every single day.
I had Rocky Mountain Ignite today.
That's getting really old.
That's all I have now.
I'm all out of Yeti mode for pre-workout, and I'm feeling it. I've been relying on other
And I didn't sleep at all last night. That's why I had Ignite. I haven't worked out yet.
Use the sleep gummies.
It has nothing to do with it. I was in pain all night.
Emotional or physical?
I'm passing a kidney stone.
Oh.
And it felt like, I don't know, everyone says I feel the kidney stones a little bit different. I've never experienced it until now.
Disclaimer, Mountain Ops will not give you kidney stones.
No. But it felt like someone was seriously stabbing me. I was thinking I had a heart attack. Something was going on. Anyway, I was having a kidney stone.
I'm sorry.
But that's why I
I'm
had
like, how do I segue out of this?
No, but that's why I had Ignite, because I'm exhausted.
Yeah, woke you up.
And Ignite helped me wake up.
Yeah. Well, I don't even know how to segue out of that. But you guys know Mountain Ops. We've been using them for a while. Use code DADBODS at checkout. You'll get 20% off your whole order, and every purchase goes towards feeding families in need.
Dude, I buy so much and I never use our code.
Yeah,
Why
I
the
don't
freak?
think. Yeah, you should use our code.
I really don't. I buy like
We are
$300
sponsored, so
worth
we
of
don't
stuff.
even actually have to pay for it, and you pay for it, which is weird.
I do.
But
All I'm supposed
anyways,
to do is just email and go, I need this, and I never do. I just go
The more
buy
you
it.
know.
so we have got one of our newest buddies in the studio today, which is another one of those friendships that just kind of popped off real quick.
Popped off.
Right? I feel like when you have a similar goal and your intentions and everything align, it just happens fast.
Girthy goals.
So
girthy
we have
goals.
got
Connection.
Dude, you're gonna have to forgive me. I'm terrible with names, especially when you throw an apostrophe in there. I know his name's Joe
Joe
Tuia'ana.
That's not bad,
Hell
bro.
yeah.
It's not bad at all.
Okay, because we had Kyle in the studio, and his last name Kilausing. It took me. Yeah, I was like, I'm not even gonna try it, bro. But no, we've got Joe Tuia'ana from the I Love You Bro project.
You met Kyle,
He's such a good dude.
right?
Such a good guy. Yeah.
He is the only guest we have ever done a two-parter with, because we could not interrupt his story.
I could feel a two-parter talking to him.
Yeah, and so we are going to get into your story and where the I Love You Bro came from, and all of that stuff. But before we get into all that, who is Joe? Joe is you. Who is he?
That's a good question. I think that probably changes every day. Honestly.
You're burnt out from podcasts.
You're like, I've done so many damn shows.
He's like, I don't know how to start anymore.
I was like, how did I answer this last week? No, I depending on the day, I have this Joe Loves You Bro mask that I wear, and I with the I Love You Bro project, I'm promoting guys to take off their masks. This is show some emotion, so show your struggles and your challenges, and wear that emotion with pride. Having said that, I wear a mask myself on that Joe Loves You Bro dude. That's what people want. That's what people want to hear from, and so the real Joe is very much. It's similar to that Joe Loves You Bro guy, but it's just like the one that's slouching in the chair, and it's just like
you don't want to be in the limelight. You just kind of want to be in the back.
I would prefer not to. I love doing, spotlight stuff for the I Love You Bro project. I love talking about what we do, and I love, the sacred experience from the overpass. But Joe has never been that guy, dude.
I so get that though.
Not that guy.
Because Logan gets invited to do a lot of things.
Logan's that guy though.
Yeah, but what's funny is I'm like,
I'm the popular girl.
no, but what's funny is I'm like, I don't want to do it, but I want to be asked.
He's that girl. Tyson's that girl in high school that's always like, and you're like, oh, what's wrong, Jessica? Nothing. I don't want to talk about it.
No, but it's like he's doing a podcast. Like, oh, did you want to do it? I'm like, no, I just want to be asked. Just know that I'm loved too.
I get that though. Especially when you guys are, so close and you're doing your thing together. But for me, depending on what I'm experiencing at the time, man, I try to, when I get home, I try to take off some of that mask for my kids, and I have, we talk about,
how hard is that?
It's pretty easy most of the time, but sometimes especially when I come from group, when I've led, 4 or 5 groups in a week, it's
Exhausting.
I feel like I'm the facilitator at home too, in a lot of ways too. But the kids, they're very good about, my daughters, I've got 3 of them. They're very good about not talking a lot about, oh, hey, so what'd you guys talk about in group or stuff like that.
Yeah.
They'll let me kind of just unwind and be me a little bit. Sometimes that means just like,
Do you feel like you ever need therapy, just like
Absolutely.
one-on-one,
absolutely.
just because of the things you hear and you experience?
Absolutely. I have, it's a heavy burden to do what I do, and for us to do what we do. And so for me, luckily I've got 2 clinicians, one that helps me with our I Love You Bro side and one that helps with the I Love You Sis side. And I get both of their ears very often. And so they can help talk me through things too. So we all
We do
need
that
it.
So-
to Brock all the time.
Give us a quick rundown of what we'll get into the origin stories of it, but give us a quick rundown of what the I Love You Bro project is. Like, give us the 30,000 foot view.
So the I Love You Bro Project is a 501c3 nonprofit organization specifically for men's mental health, suicide prevention for men, and the ongoing personal and emotional development for men. And it's all evidence-based, meaning we marry existing data that the CDC has, that the Utah Department of Health and Human Services have, and we marry it to our data, which we collect in our workshops and our support groups, all of our activities. And so we use this data to point and direct the programming that we have. So we have weekly support groups that are the foundational part of what I Love You Bro is, meaning we believe in connection and I believe in in-person connection. And so all of our programs are in person. So we force these guys to get out of their comfort zone, show up to a place, and start opening up a little bit. And so we have these weekly support groups. We have 7 of them currently. By the end of this year, we'll have 10 in the state of Utah. And then we have monthly mental health workshops that address the concerns that we see in our support groups. And so if we see an elevation or a spike in suicide ideation, we'll bring in a clinician to talk about suicide ideation. We see a spike in depression and we'll, and kind of battle it that way. So everything we do, we're the only men's mental health organization in the country that is evidence-based. So we have lots of good organizations out there that do retreat-based stuff, that do, they're good stuff. But for us, everything we do is based on evidence, and it's not just, hey, this looks like we're making an impact. This feels like we're making an impact. We legitimately are making an impact, and here's how. So.
Well, and I like it because every time you go to a group, which we've been to
Many.
the groups. I don't think I've missed one yet since we started hanging out with.
I have.
Well, that wasn't like a dig. I knew the minute I said that you're gonna be like, well, I have. But
I just want to be invited to go to a be there.
but every time you walk in,
The invitation. Note to self, I'm going to text him every time. I am not going to miss a text.
but it's you walk in and there's the QR code that we hit every single time, and it's the survey we're taking every single time, and it's just I'll say from the guy on the other end of it who's taking that, like, it's a good check-in.
Yeah.
Like, it's a good mental check-in of like how am I feeling? How has this week been? Where do I feel like I am at mentally? And that's why I love the difference is there is a million different support groups out there of different types. There is a million different buy my course, take my retreat, pay me here, I'll teach you how to be a man type stuff. But this is, and I obviously we don't, keeping everything private, not sharing anybody's details or things like that. But in the handful of times that I've been to the group that I've been to, and there's been a couple of new guys that have come in even since I've been there.
Yeah.
And it's like, I didn't want to come back, but I wanted to come back. I almost didn't come back, but I knew I needed to come back. And I'm like, there it is.
Yes.
You got
Well,
you got the hook in them.
Absolutely.
Exactly kind of what you were saying, though, is like, I feel like when you do go to your group, you go to a group meeting and all that, like it makes you aware of how you feel and how you are taking on these emotions through the whole week. And then you come back, you get settled up, you get set up again, and you keep doing it back and back and back. Then eventually those feelings become healthy and all that kind of stuff. That's how I feel like that's the whole point of group. It's because you start learning how to cope in a healthy way. And I don't know. I really liked it.
Absolutely.
Speaking, and correct me if I'm wrong, as
And
a
then-
guy, you are a numbers guy,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So what I've seen from, going on a month and a half since I've been going to I Love You Bro, I mean, it's been helping me. And we've been heavy in this for a couple of years. I've been, regular with psychiatry and other things since, my diagnosis 8 years ago. But I'm learning that as therapeutic as it is for me and Tyson to sit here and talk to amazing people all the time, for me to be able to go and sit down there and talk about some of my struggles because we've talked about our struggles all here.
We
all
just
the time.
need you to not wear shorts.
Oh, you like my short shorts.
Dude, like your shorts were like Daisy Dukes.
Hey, Hoochie Daddy shorts are in, and I've got runner's legs now. I'm showing off. I'm showing off the quads. All right.
Bro.
But my point being is that like I've noticed that it's when Tyson and I do stuff like this, it's very public.
Yeah.
So there is still a level of which he and I hold back on the podcast. We don't hold back with each other.
Yeah.
But when you get to go to this group and you catch the infection of, oh, hey, I'm safe here. And then you open it up to something, and then you start getting some perspective from other guys.
Yeah.
And then you start getting some outside validation from other guys, and whether they went through exactly what you went through, or they went through something similar, or
they're going
like,
through it.
or it's like, hey, I've never struggled with that, but I have struggled with this.
Yeah.
That's something that I overcame years and years and years ago. And so it's the same motive that we talk about of like giving men permission. And then I feel like you overcome it or you work on it a lot easier.
Yeah.
Because you're like, oh, it's not this looming tower of doom like I was feeling like it was. It might be to a level, but then you kind of get this speaking from my own experience is just like, I can do this. Like I've literally got bros, right?
Yeah.
And so it's you guys are doing something very different. I've been on online.
Well, how many times Logan knows my story? He's the only one who knows my story. And then I show up for I Love You Bro in Kaysville for the very first time, and I give everyone my story.
Loved it, bro.
And
so awesome.
it was just like, oh.
Yeah.
And I broke down, and I'm like, I cry a lot lately.
So awesome, dude.
I did. No, I used to say, I'm sorry. I this isn't me. I'm like, no,
be one of
it's
those
me.
guys.
Yeah.
I don't cry as much as Logan. No, but
I'm good at it.
Nobody's perfect.
I know. I just want to be invited to cry.
I'm inviting you now, bro.
Yeah.
No, but it was very. I didn't know the guys first time meeting them. But it was a safe environment. You create something very special in those places.
I appreciate that. And I love to hear your guys' experiences. I mean, everyone's unique and different with their challenges, and they go day to day and they can be, rotating. And I think with men, what I found is that when they can put in the work, and it does take work to get there, you know, when they can when they can get in the car, I should say first before that, they can recognize that I need help. I need to talk to somebody. We know the data is showing that, only 13% of the guys are wanting to talk to their spouse when they're, and then it's 15% for other family. That's parents.
Why do you think that is?
Well, we're collecting data now, and the number one reason at 62% is it will be used against us later. Weaponized is what we call it. So weaponized, regurgitation for a later argument. And so the perception's a huge deal with men's mental health. We have a problem with shame, and we have a problem with negative self-talk. So the way that we're perceived by loved ones, especially, our wives, that's a big deal to us. We want to make sure that we appear manly. We want to make sure that we sound manly. We want to make sure that we're doing things that are considered masculine, So with the groups, we're telling these guys, just put in the work. Get in your car, recognize that you need to talk to somebody, get in the car, take a little drive, 15, 20 minutes, come out, join us, and then just sit and observe if that's all you want to do. You guys are so used to sharing your story on with the public, and it's connected and resonated with so many people. The support groups are essentially doing the same thing, but it just privatizes it. It makes it more where, I know I've heard both of your guys' stories, especially as I've gotten to know Logan coming to a group as well, is we're very much the same in a lot of ways.
Oh yeah, 100%.
And it's one thing to be like, God, everyone's been there. I understand. We don't want to hear a lot of that stuff, but what we do is we want to see. Men are visual when it comes to a lot of things. So I don't know if I've done it with groups with you guys, But I'll say, man, if we got a guy, we'll have a guy struggling with pornography or struggling with, you know, suicide ideation or
Hold on, back up. No.
But I will literally say, hey guys, you know, say if I got a group of 10 dudes, they'll say, raise your hand if you've had a problem with whatever. Shame, negative self-talk, suicide, loneliness.
Yeah, you had
know?
that first one. You had a suicidal idea,
and then it's every hand
went
goes up, you know. And it's a literal. What I love about the groups is it's a physical, literal. You are not alone in what you're dealing with these challenges. But fellas, you got to put in the work. You got to show up. You know, I'm not racing out there to freaking drag you in here. You got to want help. You got to want to start recognizing and then coming in and being with us.
Well, that's the interesting thing is I've noticed is that everybody ends up talking.
I'm laughing because I still think.
Everybody ends up talking. Almost every single time somebody says something, and I think you've got this formula, this magic figured out. And I know you do, right? Like where like you know how to get guys opened up to a point where they feel comfortable talking.
Yeah,
and it's like you said, it makes me realize, it makes other people realize that like. It's not just the guys with a podcast or the guys with a social media following or guys who are good at keynote speeches or guys who are good at all these different things. We all have so much in common. And when you find, you got all different walks of life, I've noticed, are in these groups.
Just a catalog, diverse challenges, lifestyles,
and as I
cultures.
share, the confidence happens. And that's why Logan and I might have a little more confidence because we share all the time.
And that's what you see. And then you see one guy the next week sharing more than he did the last week. And then it's cool to see everyone else's wins, and then you kind of feel this like build up inside you of like, oh yeah, so and so had this happen, and then you kind of get the chills thinking, I'm like,
bro.
You're like, I'm legitimately happy for this dude that I barely know because he applied some stuff he was going through that he brought to the group, and the group gave some suggestions, and sometimes it's not even offering solutions; it's just like offering the shoulder.
Yeah. Just a shoulder there. It's perfectly said. Like when we're talking about creating space, I think, society has this mentality that they have to say the right thing all the time. And what I love to say in regards to that is, saying the right thing isn't nearly as important as creating the right space.
Ooh.
And so when we're talking about the I Love You Bro project, creating the right space is what we do. It's what I do now, for men. And for men, it's different for us, bros. It's the data shows it. What's going to cause an LGBTQ person or a woman or a child, teen to fall into suicide ideation is not the same as men. Our brains work and function differently. And so the connection, the marketing that we do, the group spaces that we create, it has to be different than all. I went to AA before. I've done the essay. I've done all of that other stuff to try to, pick on what things that I wanted. And what it ultimately came down to was, how did I create the space on that overpass for Aaron? How did I need to replicate that space?
Why
that
you
feeling
going
we
into that
had.
now?
So
I was gonna say let's talk about who Aaron is as much as you can, and where the overpass story comes in.
As we like to call him, AA Ron.
AA Ron. He was actually A Ron in 1A. And I'll tell you, this all happened. So this is a suicide man struggling with suicide ideation and a suicide crisis. So trigger warning. I found out later his name was Aaron with one R, because my very best friend in 2017, his name was Aaron, Aron, died by suicide. And when I met Aaron on the overpass that day, didn't know his name or didn't know him or anything, but I, later after I connected with him, and he told me about his life and what he was going through. Just a dude, man, just a guy like us, and just had a couple terrible things happen in a short amount of time. And again, it could have happened to any of us. In this case, it was an impending divorce and some choice words saying, you don't make enough money and you're not attractive enough and you're never going to see your kid again. And, he did not know any other way to process those emotions and feelings, and thought that I'm going to take a drive to clear my head. And the drive took him to the overpass. And so me and my kids just happened to be on a Saturday afternoon on our way to a basketball game. And we saw Aaron pull his car over on the overpass and get out. And at that time, I was 2 weeks sober, man. I was like, I had double pneumonia. I was ready to check into the hospital. I was not anybody's guy at that point, not even my own. And, I flipped the car around, see him ninja jump over this freaking protective fencing that they have to help deter things like that from happening. And my kids scream, and so I hurried, pulled over behind his car, and I told my oldest to call the cops and call. I told the other ones in the back, just chill. And I got out of the car and immediately thought that I was going to pass out. Like I started sweating profusely, like water falling out of my face. And I thought I was going to pass out. I said a quick prayer, just like, please, Lord, just let this guy know that he's loved. And I had an extra measure of confidence after that. And I was thinking, God, just looking like me, I could make this worse, just being this guy. Aaron's I think he's probably 5'2", 5'3", smaller dude. And, and then there's me. And I was like, man, how can I make myself less intimidating, or maybe more welcoming? And so I held out my arms to him like I wanted to give him a hug. And I just started walking towards him, almost screaming, I love you, bro. And, it was probably, 12 meters maybe between me and Aaron. And I finally got to him with my arms open, standing right underneath him. And he was so sad. I remember tears falling onto the freeway just as he leaned directly over I-15. And so I start crying, and I start yelling, I love you, bro. It's all I could think about. And he finally hears me, makes eye contact with me, and he says to himself, later I found out, I'm either going to do this now, or I'm going to go to this stranger. And I've got the feeling to jump up there like I was 18 again with no arthritis, no chubby, whatever. And I grabbed him like he's a sack lunch and lifted him over the fence and just sat down with him on the safety of the sidewalk and just cried with this guy, man. He just latched onto me and just held onto me like his life depended on it. And it did it. And it felt like both of our lives depended on it at that time. And I sat there and cried with him for, a couple minutes. I want to say a couple minutes. It was like a minute or so. And then, society started showing up. And when I say that, I mean like this first dude who shows up, says, why would you want to do that to Aaron? Mm-hmm. So it's just like one shameful thing after another. This second person shows up, this girl, and she says, do you have kids? And Aaron, we're both sitting here crying, literally right off the ledge.
Like, shut up.
Yeah. And she goes, do you have kids? He says, yeah, or he nods yes. And then she says, what would they think about you doing this?
Oh, that hurts my stomach.
It was so terrible. And mind you, this is just this dude, Joe, this guy who's here at the overpasses, alcoholic, and I'm even thinking, this is terrible,
Yeah.
And so they got Aaron some help and peeled me off the sidewalk. My kids helped me limp back to the car and whatnot. But he saw the story went viral on the news, and he saw his own story, reached out to me. We invited him over for dinner, and I just let the dude talk, bro. And he just a guy, man, just a normal dude. And I tried to look up some services to help him, and we couldn't find anything, man. There wasn't anything, nothing. And so I was like, I think I can get my buddies together and get Aaron some connection. Get him, I have a couple clinician friends who happen to be in my fantasy football league for the last 16 years. I think they could help Aaron too. So I started just pulling all these little things, that I had in my network, and come to find out, we throw together this little support group in Provo, and suddenly I'm finding that we're getting guys show up and that Aaron's needs are very similar to the needs of many other men in our community. And that's where I Love You Bro started, man. Intense, heavy, beautiful, terrible experience that I wish I would not want anyone to go through. Having my kids watch that whole thing, man. The first thing in my mind was, I cannot let this happen in front of my kids. I cannot let this happen. This dude is not jumping. Not today. Not in front of my freaking kids. And so I was blessed to say the right thing, do the right thing. Not to say that it would help in every situation, but I'll tell you what, it's the best first thing to try. Just I love you, bro. So,
dude, that's
one thing though I've learned through personal experience is that they're in so much pain that they'd rather have physical pain than the emotional pain. And so hearing that people don't realize that, and I think that just comes with education, that, hey, now's not the time to critique what they were doing. Now's the time just to love. And that's it's definitely something that maybe we can be better at, all of us. But I appreciate you sharing that.
Well, I think that's a beautiful point that you just made, is that now is not the time to critique. And then I think that's you saying that those, you know, two individuals coming up. And then as a society, that is the first thing that people do, is we tend to try to like sometimes find a silver lining, or we tend to try to sometimes like remind you of the reasons why that's a terrible idea. Yeah. And this is Brock, our coach. I had a moment, or, you know, a few days ago where I was really struggling with some stuff, and I was looking for answers, and I was complaining, and I was doing all these stuff. And he just was like, dude, sit in it, honor these feelings, like, or else they're going to force themselves to be felt later. And it's like when somebody passes away, a lot of times people, when they, you know, try to offer comfort to those that are, you know, that are missing their loved one, is saying like, oh, they're in a better place, or they're not in pain anymore, or you're going to see him again one day. When in reality, it's like, grief is a very powerful emotion and feeling that we need to be allowed to like sit in and miss those that we love, and miss the experiences and all that stuff. And I think the same thing applies. And I thought that was great you brought that up, because it's, and how you said it was, that's how, like, if you're cutting off that feeling, like if you're cutting off the head, you're like, you're introducing guilt and shame, and you're like taking away an experience from somebody to, like, you know, you just feel like you're stunting whatever Aaron was processing at that time.
Absolutely. I mean, Aaron, like, and not to say these two people are trying to do the right thing. You know, they want to say the right thing. They've just been programmed to say those types of things by their parents, or, you know, school.
Yeah,
or
like
whatever.
It wasn't malicious. It's just that's all they could think of in the moment, because they don't have the resources.
And that's kind of what the I Love You Bro project does as well, is you know, the education part for us is in our support groups. It's incredible to see the guys who don't know how to sit with the feelings, the guys who don't know how to cry. You know, when we're talking about me, and of course, you know, I wear my heart on my shoulder, bro. I invite crying to everyone. That's what I do. That's how I regulate my emotions, is by crying. I love to cry, and that sounds weird, but it's, my heart is on fire that my eyeballs are sweating, kind of that type of thing. And whether I'm happy or sad, that's the way I show emotion. That's what helps me. So when we have guys in our support groups who come who never flex that muscle, you know, they've never had the opportunity, or they never saw an example through a man, a dad, or a father figure who showed any sort of vulnerability or emotion. We had freaking robots as parents. You know, growing up in a Samoan house, man, it was just fussy all the time, man. I get my ass whooped constantly. And you can cry about if you can cry about if you're talking about Samoa. You could cry if you're proud to be Samoan. You could cry about if a family member dies, or maybe. But outside of that, you freaking dare cry if you're sad, or if you're having a bad day. You freaking nut up or shut up kind of mentality. Yeah. And that's what we're battling against. And so we're trying to reprogram men from the bottom, like emotionally, from the freaking, you know, bottom of the barrel, all the way up with these new feelings. Yes, you have permission to show that, man. Show it.
So the question that I have is going back to the 62% of they're afraid that their wives are going to, or their girlfriends, significant others are going to take what they say and
the weaponizing. Yeah.
how do we teach? Because to me, we are not men. We don't communicate our feelings well. We don't.
Not at all.
And Logan and I are still learning. We're better than we used to be, but so I'll say something to my wife, and it will come out completely wrong. But I meant it as hey, I'm struggling. This is why I'm struggling, and it'll go out as I'm struggling, and it's your fault. But I never said that. But that's what she takes from it.
Yeah, it's what they're taking from it.
And so, what do you think men need to do in order to help our wives and our significant others and all that kind of stuff understand that we're not personally attacking them? This is how we feel. This is our situation, and we just want you to understand where we're coming from.
That's a golden question, man. And I think the answer for me is when I see guys in the support groups who have these challenges, like they actually have wonderful marriages for the most part. They just have a problem communicating their emotions to their spouse.
I swear it's everyone.
Absolutely. I mean, I'm divorced. I'm not. I've been divorced 13 years. It's not like I freaking have a success, recipe for it. But what I will say, observationally and anecdotally, the data with the I Love You Bro project, what we're seeing is when men can practice sharing in a safe space, and when a safe space is broadened, and that the tone of that safe space is sharing. So, for example, our support groups, they're dedicated to that idea that this space is specifically for sharing, for vulnerability. When we're at home and we're trying to create space, like I have a workshop I'm going to be teaching women about creating space for men. When we're trying to...
When is that? No, I'm sure.
Probably going to be after this is released, but I mean... or before I should say, but the idea is that when you have to start with the space around you, and then you can have a dedicated space, maybe it's your living room or something, but that space has to be where I can share challenges and difficulties without fear of judgment, or I don't have to respond immediately like our support groups. When a guy shares, there's been so many times I'm like, get out of your own way.
Yeah.
Or I want to say, bro, I just want to smack some of these guys. Okay. I love them all, but I want to smack some of them.
Oh, yeah.
Because they can't get out of their own way. And that's all of us. That's a good representation. But the idea is that in this space that is dedicated to sharing struggles and challenges, they have the right to start talking about those things. Let's let them talk about it. And we're going to have to get to a place inside for men where pride you can start separating your pride from your feelings. And then the women at the same time, or the partners, have to start doing the same thing. Not everything they're going to say is gospel. Let's let them talk for a little bit, okay? And if we have to come back to that conversation, then we'll put a freaking pin in there, a bookmark, and then we'll come back to it. What I love with our support groups is that I've never had a guy come and say, I shared something and it was used against me later in this space, okay? Meaning, if we can create a relationship, again, creating space with our spouses, and to be able to say, okay, I'm going to share, honey, I love you. I want to share some things with you, and they're going to be difficult to hear, whatever it is. And then you can share those things, and then the wife or the partner is able to just sit there with no response and just say, I love you, bro. Just to sit there, creating that space where, okay, now you got one chance. Women have one chance for us to open up. If they're lucky. And if in that one chance is spoiled with, well, what about this? Or you said this. We're never going to open. It's going to take work for us to open up again. There's no golden answer, bro, to that. But I'll say
think
just...
your answer was freaking amazing, because I think it's right. Like I said, Logan and I'm not trying to speak for you. I don't know.
I was going to say, where are we going with this?
No, I feel like I'm still not an amazing communicator when it comes to expressing my emotions to my wife.
Like very few men are.
I think I'm getting better at it. Like I'm able to express my frustrations with the company. I'm express my anxieties and all that kind of stuff. But when there's like family stuff, I still have a hard time expressing that, because I don't want her to ever feel like she's an amazing mother, she's an amazing wife, and I don't want to ever make her feel less than. And so I don't bring a lot of things up that I wish I could, because I never want to make her feel.
Absolutely.
And so it's easy for me now. Dead serious, Candace and I can talk nonstop. I'm feeling down. I told her the other day, well, how long ago? 2 months ago, 3 months ago, when I wanted it, I didn't want to be here. I did not want to be here. Yeah. And I told her.
Wow.
3-4 months before, or like a year before that, I never would have said one thing to her.
Wow.
And she stopped what she was doing. She came and she just sat with me. And she gave me a hug and didn't say a word. And I'm just like, and that meant a lot to me. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Oh,
and
bro, that is so awesome.
And it just meant a lot. Like, okay, she sees me, and I felt it, and I knew like she was there for me at that moment, and I can do that type of stuff. And so that, because she does so much for me and my family, I never want to bring up like any dumb stuff. I don't know. I don't know how to explain that.
No, I mean, when we're at 62%, we're thinking that it's going to be weaponized. But right after that, at 53% is, we don't want to be a burden. We don't want to burden, meaning we know our wives have a lot on their plate as well.
You can see it in their eyes.
Yeah, we know they're dealing with a lot as well. We see all that they're doing. They do so much that we do not want to burden them with something else. We are the ones who are supposed to fix everything and make sure everyone's taken care of. Why would I add to this burden already to my wife? So it's right there beyond, dude.
And that's why I love what you're doing, is because we've had a million people on the show. A lot of amazing people. We haven't had a million people. We've had a lot of people on the show, and we've had a lot of amazing conversations and all kinds of stuff. But the fact that you're sitting here spitting out percentages and the facts, that's where it's different. Is that you're putting the rubber's hitting the road here of like, look, we can talk about stuff all day long. We can a million, amazing analogies or like motivational quotes or things like that. But like breaking it down and being like, hey, we're getting this information from the demographic of men that are struggling with these issues from the horse's mouth.
Yes.
And that's where we try to be different with Dad Bods and Beards, is like, hey, we talk about stuff all the time. This is why we bring different people on, is because we're trying to provide outlets, resources, tools, and different ways of thinking, different perceptions. And that's why when we first went to lunch with you, with Elisha, which we've had her on the show, it was like within a minute or two. You always do that.
I love her, bro.
He intentionally messes up names so that I question if I've got them right. but like, it was within a couple minutes, and it's funny. I'm a big believer in the law of attraction and manifesting and things like that. He and I had been talking about for probably a couple months of like, hey, we want to do some more community outreach. We've got a good following and a good listener base on social media, which expands way outside Utah. Yeah. I'm like, but we need to be doing more in the community. We want to start doing some meetups. We want to start doing events, yada, yada, yada. And then that's when Elisha was like, hey, have you met Joe yet? I'm like, no, we've seen his stuff around, but we've never met him. And so that's where this relationship's kind of kicked off. And that's why I wanted to talk about this really quickly on the show, was that we want Dad Bods and Beards and I Love You Bro to be synonymous, because you are doing and have been doing for a couple of years now what we were hoping to get to. And so there's no point in us trying to like create our own thing when we've just so seamlessly, I feel like we just fit right into the I Love You Bro
we
project.
just want to continue doing what we're good at, and then you do what you're good at.
And then so it's like this symbiotic relationship, and then we can help. Like I said, I have this goal of like, I want to get I Love You Bro outside of Utah. And I want it to become, and as we're both are starting to work with Stand for Kind, and the platforms,
who are awesome, by
and
the
the platforms that we're going to have there that are going to provide, resources and tools and things like that. And that I just made the joke as we were sitting in the green room, was that there's so many different brands out there and there's so many different mental health this and this, but I feel like Dad Bods and Beards and I Love You Bro have the same feeling in branding too. And it's so funny to like see here, 3 guys sitting here, shorts, hats, hoodies, Nikes, things like that. And it's like, you're spitting facts out here, like real statistical numbers. And it's like, we're not sitting here in suits and ties and just this, this lemon of a person of like, no, we are everyday average bros that are just trying to reach the everyday average bro.
Joes for average bros, fellas. You know, and I think, you know, that it should be said that, you know, this data that we collect are from men who are trying to get help.
Yeah.
Meaning they're coming to a workshop, or they're coming to our support groups. The assumption then it should be that everything's just worse, actually, than what we're reporting.
Yeah, what about the guys who aren't coming?
Yeah, these are guys who aren't comfortable coming yet, or aren't comfortable reaching out for help. You know, we know based on the data that 78% of men are not comfortable reaching out to 988. So when we got, you know, God bless them, you know, AFSP, NAMI, and all these awesome organizations kind of pushing, shoving, you know, 988 in our face with flowers and freaking puppy dogs. It's not connecting. It's not resonating with men. And so what does is this, you know, real talk that you guys do. It's what we do in our groups, support groups, man. There's so much stigma around the word support groups. Well, that means, you're an addict, or that means you're this and you're that, and you're just, you know, broken. And I wear that freaking word on my chest now, man. I am broken. I am beautifully, brofully broken, and freaking proud of it, man, and stronger for it. And so when we as men, especially dudes like us, 3 dudes like us, can come together, shed some tears, freaking laugh about some stuff.
Yeah.
This literally is our space here, a sacred space for you guys, like we have in our support groups, to share and open. We can do that. If everyone listening, you can create that stuff at home. You could create that with family members. It's possible. And you can, especially for yourself, when you really need to talk. And we all do, man. And this is coming from me too, where I need to talk, man. I need to get some stuff off my chest. And if I feel like I can't talk to, like, say, my kids or my mom or whatever, I don't have a spouse, you know, but I can talk about it with you guys. You know, easily. I can build 2 a.m. bros. We all need 2 a.m. bros. I may not want to reach out to my best friend, but I will maybe if I need to move a couch. But when I'm tempted to start drinking, I'm not going to reach out to him. That's just our relationship. But I will reach out. I would be absolutely comfortable reaching out to a lot of the guys within our support groups, to you guys, if I feel like I'm in that space. You know, if I feel like I'm there, I want to build 2 a.m. bros, and we all need them, man. We all need them.
When we've talked about that, and as we're kind of wrapping up, one thing I want to ask you about is this one. I love the fact that you do this. I want to talk about jackass thoughts.
Ooh.
So you have a little 3D printed trash can that looks like a street can from everybody's got them put out on the curb, and it just has a little "I love you, bro" sticker on it. And when we come in, if you don't have to, we're just writing down a jackass thought that we had, right? And you're putting them in the can. Give us a breakdown of, like, what is a jackass thought?
Jackass thought.
Yeah.
Jackass thoughts, man, they come in different shapes, sizes, tones. But, you know, for me, for an example, jackass thought is, you're just a fat piece of shit.
Yeah.
You're a terrible dad. You, like, horrible things.
That we say to ourselves.
That our brains lie to us and
That's
tell
what
us.
it was this week.
Yeah, you were having jackass thoughts, just
About being
overwhelming, you know. And they come every day, and lots of times every hour. I like for our workshop, for our support groups, for the guys that come, I like to promote the fact that those are jackass thoughts. They exist. Those are real things that you're hearing, but they're lying to you, and they're just a jackass. I picture a donkey. Just this donkey wearing a freaking, like, what are those things? The doctor, a little stethoscope thing. Yeah, you got this. Like, just a jackass.
What's he like?
Jackass. Yeah. Damn it, Bobby. No.
You had to throw it in there.
These damn jackass thoughts. But it's my terrible Hank Hill impression. Jackass thoughts, they come to all of us. They say terrible things to us. You know, the process of us, or I should say the guys coming to one of our support groups, just the process of recognizing that that's a jackass thought. It's not true. It's not real. I'm going to write that down on a piece of paper. I'm going to fold that paper, and then I can do whatever I want with this thought. And what better place to put this terrible, lying, jackass thought into a garbage can and just closing the lid on that mother. Just, okay, that's gone.
Thank you for not saying that.
Yeah.
I'm like, say it.
I know we're not in an actual support group here, so some of my language is being a little bit Disneyed here.
No, totally
But it's a very real process, a very real thing. Logan, every time he comes, and I love it when he does, both of you guys, but he's the first one writing down, sometimes it's multiple for these guys.
Because I'm a pretty big jackass.
It's badass, bro.
I've got lots of them.
Dude, we all do. We just, that's so cheesy. We're in this mentality where masculinity cannot admit through pride that we have lying thoughts that hurt our feelings. Bro, like, get over yourself, man. Ain't nothing special about you. You have feelings. You're not a Terminator, bro. You're not an android, not a robot. You are a freaking human being. So why not take some of those jackass thoughts, acknowledge that they're there, write that stuff.
That's okay.
Write that on a piece of paper. And we're not talking about men's mental health, bro. This is what I'm passionate about. And then just fold it up, and then let's get rid of that thing. Does it mean it's ever going to come back? No, that doesn't mean. But guess what? We'll do it again. We'll do it again as long as we recognize where it is and where it's coming from.
It's a problem.
It's a problem, man.
You're acknowledging that this isn't real.
Yes, this is not me.
I love it. I love what you said that about that. Like, get over yourself. Like, that you can have these thoughts. And this is one thing that Tyson's heard me say this a bunch of times now, is that and I'm glad you made the Terminator reference, because if men were not like supposed to be emotional creatures, we would not have the emotional capacity to feel feelings. Like, and so I feel like that's one of the perfect thoughts to end on. And we're gonna have a burn party of all these jackass thoughts that you've collected from all the different
you
groups.
guys came up with the idea.
Yeah, and so I think that'll be super cool. And the thing that I feel bad about having you on the show and talking about this is that I Love You Bro only exists in Utah right now. People can follow you all over social media, and you post a lot of amazing stuff. Like, dude, the mask off pictures that you've posted recently is super good. So go check out I Love You Bro project on social media. We have got big plans that we want to get.
We're gonna have you multiple times, not just today.
So you're gonna be probably
FYI, like, you don't have
a repeat offender on the show.
I would love to be a repeat offender here with you guys anytime, man. You guys are, and just for anyone listening here, if you live in Utah or not, I mean, people love you. Don't listen to this nonsense of no one's going to save you. People will race to help you. It will take some getting over yourself. Guys, just give us a little bit. You got to reach out just a little bit. We need to reach out, give something so that we can get some help. You are always freaking worth it. And it doesn't feel like that all the time. But I promise you're worth every ounce of help that people want to offer. So I love you, bros.
Love you.
Love you too, man. And I think that's the perfect note to end on. Joe is the physical embodiment of what Dad Bods and Beards is trying to do. So I would implore you guys, go check out I Love You Bro. Reach out if you need help. It's not about being the lion. It's not about trying to be the tough guy. Nope. It's about being the guy on the overpass with your arms outstretched, trying to show that love. So thank you, Joe.
I love you, bros.
Love you too.
Best is yet to come, fellas. Best is yet to come.
So that's all we've got for you guys this week. Check out I Love You Bro. Check out the Dad Bods and Beards merch shop, and we'll catch you next week.
Toodles.
Love you, bros.